Hi, this is Tanya Sheridan. I'm an independent consultant with Close to My Heart, and today I wanted to show you how to make this fun little shaker pumpkin card. So the pieces were actually cut out on my Cricut, and they were cut out from Close to My Heart's new digital collection, Bloom and Grace. That's how I found the pumpkin, and with the design, I then altered it and enlarged it so that it would fit the 3-inch rim of our shaker elements. So I will add the file so that you can create this yourself if you would like. You do need to have access to that collection, and I'll also post the link where you can purchase that. It's a very inexpensive Cricut file. It's $9.99, so lots of images that coordinate with our Bloom and Grace collection, but specifically for this project, it has the really cute little pumpkin guy. So let's get started, and I'll talk you through how I created this little shaker. So first of all, I have my base, and that is going to be out of espresso. You can go either way, but you do want your stems and your leaves to follow the same format. So we're going to set that aside a second. This is going to be my piece. This is Desert Rose. It's a lighter on one side and darker on the other, but this is the foundation of my pumpkin. So that's actually where we're going to get started. And then if you notice, I went ahead and placed these in order just for time's sake. These are all cut out, the little pumpkin sections. They're cut out from the Desert Rose glitter paper. So they really enhance, unfortunately it doesn't take a good photograph of it, but it really enhances the look of our pumpkin. So I've put each of those segments in order, and I'm going to simply attach those to my pumpkin with my adhesive. Now I am using Close to My Heart's adhesive runner. That is my favorite runner for most projects because it has a little bit of a give, meaning it goes on and allows you to reposition it a little bit before the adhesive becomes permanent, which for a project like this I think is essential, because if I were to set one of these down and find that I was a little off balance or I ran out of room towards the end of my pumpkin, I could then shift all of my little pieces again instead of them being permanently down. So for some projects I think that works great. For me, I sometimes have a hard time centering or getting perfectly lined up in my scrapbook, and so it makes it a little bit easier to have that give. Okay, so this is our last segment, and I put that on, and you can see I left myself a little bit shy, so I'm just going to reposition these little segments a little bit farther at the top so that you can see the seams in the pumpkin. Okay, so then the next thing that we're going to do, and I'm going to move these off just for a second, is you want to get out whatever die cutting system that you have. Now I am using the Close to My Heart one. I really like this one. I am right-handed, so for me it's easier to have the turn on the right-hand side, but of course you could flip it the other way. I'm going to put my plates in, and then I'm going to put, let me slide it up here so you can see it a little bit better, my pumpkin right in the center of my plates. Then I'm going to take my 3-inch die, and you could use any circle die. This one goes specifically with our stitched rims, so this is what the pumpkin was designed to fit around. But you could also do a 3-inch circle on another cutting system. You could take this circle here that I have included, and you could use that as a template to cut it if you wanted to, if you don't have a cutting system, or you could also carefully run it through your Cricut. So any of those options work well. To me, this is just the easiest, and I love this die. So I'm going to run my die through once, and then I'm going to come back once it's through, and I'm going to go backwards because we are going through an uneven layer and then also glitter paper and cardstock. So I want to make sure that it has a clean cut all the way through. Move my machine off. My machine does have a suction, which makes it very nice to keep everything balanced off. Okay, so now that we have that part done, I'm going to put the sample back up here so you can see it. I'm going to pull off this rim and set it aside, and then you're going to notice that it cut most of it. Little section, it looks like it's hanging on, so I'm just going to nip those with my scissors. There we go. And it cut the 3-inch circle out. So we actually don't need this piece, but you could use it for something else if you wanted to, okay? So this is what the piece looks like now. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back and take our pumpkin and just make sure everything lines up like that. I'm not going to glue this down. I'm just sitting it into place, okay? So then I'm going to take this circle that says Autumn Blessings. Now, if you don't want to use the side that says Autumn Blessings, you can simply flip it. That's the wonderfulness of the two-sided paper. And you can use the solid and you could stamp your own image, or you could leave it blank. But I thought Autumn Blessings was a nice sentiment. It's not super Halloweenish, but it could also be used for Thanksgiving, etc. And I am going to position that right inside the hole that we've cut. And then I'm going to take this piece off. Now you are going to want to be gentle with this because there's not much of a margin here and there. And so you want to make sure that you don't tear it, okay? So I'm going to put that down. I'm going to slide my template off to the side. And then I'm going to take my shaker rim. So my shaker rim is pre-created by Close to My Heart. You're going to pull the film back just a little bit, and you're just going to grab this rim and pull the rim off. And you're going to save the inside foam because that is bonus. I'm going to tell you more about that in a second. Okay, so we're going to put this rim directly on top of the outline of the circle, okay? So then the next thing that you're going to do is you have this little bag of sequins. Now these are our rose gold sequins. They are absolutely beautiful. They are retired, but as of the making of this video, they were still available. So I'm going to move those little sequins around, and then I'm going to grab a few of the larger ones, and I'm going to use my glue dot runner, and I'm going to glue a few into place. And the reason for that is, you know, when you're shaking a shaker card, most of the sequins drop to the bottom or what have you, and so I like to have a few that are in place. The recipient is never going to know that they are glued down. So it's kind of cheating, but it's a good cheating. It also helps navigate the rest of the sequence. So I'm just going to do probably about 4 or 5 to get those into place. That's 4. That one's got one caught behind it. Let's do one more. And again, it just makes them stay in place a little bit better. It also keeps some of the sequins from all following the same pattern every time. Okay, so then what I'm going to do with that is then I'm going to carefully pull this rim off, and you want to hold down your piece when you're pulling it, because if you just pull the rim fast, it'll cause the base to pop, and when it pops, your sequins are going to go everywhere, and you don't want your sequins to catch on this foam tape. So then there is also this piece of acetate, and sometimes it comes off very easily, and other times you just have to simply scratch it with your nail to get that film to come off. If it is cloudy, then you have not removed the film. If it is clear, then you have successfully removed the film, okay? So we're gonna put this directly on top of that foam, and then we're gonna just simply take our finger around and seal it, and you can shake it to make sure they're moving around. Once that is down, it is a done deal. It is not going to move. So you wanna make sure you're careful with that. Then we're gonna take our stems, and some of them might have a piece or two from the Cricut that haven't popped out, so just pop those out with your scissors or your piercing tool. We're gonna put some adhesive on the back and just put that right inside the stem, and that just gives it a little bit of depth and color. You can see how it is here, okay? So then we're gonna take our leaf, and I want to use one side, let's see, there we go, the dark side of the outline. And I'm going to put it on the light side of the solid base so that you can see the differentiation in the veins of the leaves, okay? Then I'm going to attach the entire leaf to the card right on the outline, and that works really well. Now, if you want to leave a little bit of the brown showing, you can as kind of a shadow. I have a tiny little bit there, and I actually like that. And then there's this tiny little kind of sprouty, flourishy vine that's going to go on top of this piece, just like that, okay? So that's the foundation of our card that we have so far. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to come and take this piece and flip it over, and we're going to add adhesive because we want it to be level with our shaker card so that our shaker card is not bouncing higher. So what you want to do is you want to use the foam tape that was included in your kit with your shaker, because we already know that that is the same height. So typically speaking, I use thin foam tape, and this is a little bit higher than thin foam tape. This is our regular tape. So if I use thin tape, I would be doing mountains and valleys, and that would look kind of weird on our card. You will notice around the curvatures of the tape, there's some pieces that are cut with an angle or a curvature. Those are narrower, and so those are the ones that I'm putting here and here, because that's a more narrow space, and it seems to fit into the space better. So that's how I have achieved that. When you're putting together the card, you don't have to pull off all the film unless you really want to. That is up to you. I tend to pull off the film, but if you wanted to save yourself time, putting this much tape on it is really more for an even support versus the adhesive element of it. Now, I'm noticing over here I got a little bit of shy, so what you can do is just take your scissors and cut your foam tape on the paper, and it doesn't mess up and goo up your stickers as much, or your scissors as much. And then there's one tiny little piece here that I want to cut, and I just want a narrow piece there, and I don't really want it to show, so I'm gonna put that piece there, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna come back and we're gonna pull the film off. And you really want to make sure that if you do leave some film on, that it's not right around the circle, because those are the pieces that we want to make sure that they stick. Now, if you have rolled tape, you could certainly use that. To me, I like using the tape that comes with the shaker, simply because it's already there and I don't have to pay extra for it. I've paid for the rim. That's the piece that I needed, and the acetate, and the rest is just kind of surplus and bonus. So we're gonna make sure that we have all of these guys, and coming across on this edge. And I am going to go ahead and now put my pumpkin directly over that hole, okay? So you can see that you now see the shaker element still. You can shake it that way, and that works really well. Now, you can do a couple things to attach the rim. You can use regular adhesive, you can use your liquid glue, but since we're doing a video and I don't really have time to let it sit and dry, because, you know, what's more boring than watching glue dry, I'm going to use the glue dots, because those are an instant adhesive, an instant tightness, an instant secureness, and they hold tight, okay? So I just put about 5 around my rim, and I'm going to put my rim then directly into place. Okay, that is making it even all the way around, okay? So then the final step that I want to do is I want to take my clear shimmer brush. Now we do have shimmer brushes in the Desert Rose, also in the Espresso, but those are awfully dark, and so I want to make it more, I just want a clear little outline. So what I'm going to do is take my shimmer brush and just gently go across all of the stitching, of my rim, just like that. You can go ahead and you can repeat it multiple times if you want. I'm just going to do it once. And then I want to go inside the veins, or the differences in the 2 Cricut cuts. So the little holes that are cut out, I just want those to shimmer a little bit. So I'm going to go and fill those in with my shimmer brush. Just like that. And if you want, you can outline this little guy, whatever else you would like. So that is how you create this tag. So a couple things you could use it for. My original intent was to take a little piece of embellishing thread and hang it from a wine bottle. But you could also cut out the shape of the pumpkin again and make it a scoring and make it open up into a card. So that would be an option. Or you could use them as table place settings for Thanksgiving or meals, you know, that you need a little place card. Or you could put a Bible verse in it or a false sentiment and have one for each person. So there's lots of different possibilities that you could do with this card. It is approximately, let's see, it is 5.5 by 5 3/4. So it is a little bit bigger than a standard card. You could certainly put it in a square envelope and mail it. Here is one of my 7 by 7 bags that I use quite frequently. So you could get it a little bit smaller. You could maybe do 6.5 by 6.5. If you could cut an envelope on your Cricut that way, that would work as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have any questions, certainly email me. My email address is the same as my website. It's inallsassiness@gmail.com. Otherwise, you can find this kit and more tutorials on my website at www.inallsassiness.com. And whatever you do, make it sassy.